Hello, hello. How are we all today? Um, I don't know what happened to God's night. He's not made it yet, but I'm watching for him. Anyhow, the Eye of the Tiger is in reference to this is the year of the tiger, going by the Chinese or Asian calendar. All right, and a bird in a hand is better than two in the bush because you at least got something to eat. Now, usually I have a co-partner and hi Abby, how you doing? That's okay, I'm glad you came. Um anyhow, you know, parents do things when they're younger or when you're younger and you think it's kind of crazy, you know. Um anyhow, hi Cajun, how you doing? Um well, today or this the other night it was actually um I got a heck of a laugh because of the simple fact when my older kids were younger, they wanted to go out and play one time, and where we were at wasn't too cool a place, but I knew law enforcement was going to be doing traffic stops and checking, inspecting vehicles and that. Hi, Tiny Tim. And I said, we'll go down there and play because then you can entertain the police officers when they're not doing their job, but you leave them alone. And my kids had roller skates at the time, and the young one kept poking at the other one, irritating the older one, and anyhow, the younger one was shorter and took off. The older one was taller and took off. And this one officer, he started laughing. He goes, "Is that the mother?" The other officer knew me, and he says, "No, but I'll introduce you to the mother later." And he says, "I've never seen anybody run on roller skates in the grass except for, you know, on TV." And they got a kick out of this. Well, they stopped by the house, and the one officer that didn't know me, he got to meet me, and it was all good and stuff. And then a couple years later, we had a really bad ice storm. I mean, cars couldn't drive worth a hoot. So the kids wanted to go get the mail, and I says, "Well, put on your ice skates." "But we don't know how to ice skate." I says, "You know how to line skate, right?" "Well, yeah." I said, "That's ice skating, only you've got round wheels instead of the blades." So they put their ice skates on and they went uptown and they got the mail. And on the way back, cars were stopping them and telling them right out, "Hey, you're making better timing on those things than what the cars are," you know? So the reason I started laughing was because there was a hockey player down in Texas during this last storm where Texas got hit bad. And he went and he put his ice skates on and he grabbed his stick and his puck and he showed him that he still had what it took. And when we seen that, I started laughing. I said, "Oh, don't that bring back memories?" Anyhow, it was one of those, you might have thought I was a little funny when y'all was younger, but it goes with my theory, be prepared for anything. Well, yeah, even then, I mean, I don't fall under any bracket. Okay, you can't put me in any category because this is a lifestyle. You don't put people in brackets or categories or label them. It's a way of life. Anyhow, um, it's just how I am. Yeah, I seen that gumbo Cajun. That stuff was pretty good stuff. But anyhow, I just I had to share some stories of when we were all younger, you know, and how parents might have done something that you didn't quite understand, but now you're older and somebody else does it, and you think it's funny because you were in that same situation years ago, you know. But anyhow, we just kind of sit around and laugh about it. Hi Dot, how you doing, hon? Listening while driving. Yeah, you focus on your driving. You can listen, but you focus on the road. All right. Anyhow, so I'm not sure what to think or anything about things today. So, um, Cajun, would you like to come up and be with me? So I'm not like the only one. So I have somebody to bounce things around with, have some fun, chatting, talking. You're more than welcome to, honey. Tell you what, Cajun, here's the link if you want to come up, okay? Yeah, Tiny Tim, he's pretty cool dude. Um, but hi Sunfish, how you doing? Anyhow, Cajun, that's for you in case you want to come up. If you don't, I'll understand. Okay, that's fine, sweetie. The dude is here. I don't know what dude you're talking about, but okay. Anyhow, so um, yeah, today is just one of those days where you know when you think back on things, mom and dad might not have done everything that you liked and that you thought some of it was a little bit odd or crazy, whatever. But when you get older, somebody else does the same thing and it sets off those memories that are funny, haha type of memories, good memories. You know, um, you you just go, wow, we're not the only ones that do this kind of stuff. It's pretty cool, you know. Ah, yeah, the little guy. He is a sweetheart. He's a blessing. So yeah. Hi, everyday scholar. Um, we're glad that you stopped by. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, you never know if you're lucky you paid attention and your parents, or your grandparents um lived they did. They lived this way, okay? I ain't kidding you. Um it's how everybody lived. It wasn't nobody was preppers, nobody was homesteaders, none of that. They were living their life, you know. And it wasn't always easy, but they stuck with it and they kept going and they made it. They made things work. They had to save up their pennies to get what they wanted and what they had to have, but it was worth it. So I hope you got a little bit of fun, some laughs out of it. But yeah, seeing that hockey player slapping on his skates and skating on the street with his puck and his sticks, it was just um you know, a good memory that it came back, gave back to us. Just make sure to flush. Okay, sunfish. I don't know what you're talking about there, but um, the other guy said he just popped in to leave to leave a thumbs up. Nothing to flush there. Sorry. Anyhow, yeah. Spring is 5 weeks away, but who's counting other than me? I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Old Man Winters cooperates because I want to. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to get out there. I want to. Oh, okay. Toxin. Your voice texting. I got it. um, there's a lot of things I want to get doing outside. You know, we got a lot of sticks to pick up from the winds over the winter and cleaning up, and dealing with the garden. Oh, I can't wait for the garden. I'm looking forward to the garden and planting and growing food and then harvesting. It will be a fun time, and being able to make videos on other things as well. So, yeah. Um, anyhow, I don't know. I'm hoping y'all are keeping warm. I'm hoping you still have your lights on. A lot of people down in Texas lost theirs. Uh, in fact, there are some places in Texas that have emergency food shelters opened. Hello,
Oh,
Cajun.
hey, I was putting a message that I was coming up, that I was in the basement.
I was watching you.
Okay. Oh, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I keep an eye on the news all over, and like I was saying, there are some places down in Texas, the food shelves are open for emergency food so that people can go there and get it. So if you live in Texas, check your area. You might have emergency food places that you can go to today, because of the storms.
I'm uh,
So
I'm in South Louisiana. We I don't watch the news. You were talking about that earlier. You watch the news. I don't watch the news. All it is
I
depressing.
well, I don't watch the news
Or
like
keep
on
up. I
TV.
got
I'll read the news because what I do is I look for what I call funny haha
right.
stories. Um like 2 weeks ago there was a story about the two guys that took their friend that passed away. He was alive when they first went to where he was at. He passed away, so they took him down to the post office to collect his
Social
like
Security.
social security. And people started asking questions, and the two friends left and left a dead body there. You
Wow.
know, another story, and I was like, talk about Weekend with Bernie. You
Exactly.
know, sorry, might been morbid, but that's how I looked at it.
I
Hi, honey, how you
say hi.
doing? Well, great. And then there was the 82-year-old man who drove for 72 years. Hi, Matt, how you doing? And he didn't have a license. He's drove since he was 12 years old. Didn't have a license, and the only way they caught him was the camera caught the picture of his tags, his license plate, and they
Yeah,
looked into it and found out he didn't have any documentary at all.
he probably didn't even have a social security number.
He didn't even have a license, and they're like, um, luckily he didn't have an accident. Nobody ever got hurt. He was never in any,
Right.
any trouble or anything. And then he got citations. So I don't know if they were warnings or what, but you know, 82 years old. How many people can say that?
They had a guy in town that it's been a while now, probably 25 years, but he had an automotive paint cars and repaired dings and dents and everything in it. And he was 71, 72 years old. And they finally caught him. He never had a social security number, never set up a checking account, nothing. Never had a bank account, driver's license, never started up a business account. He just started working on cars and doing stuff like that, learned it as he went. And when they finally caught him, they asked for his books. He said, "I don't have books." He didn't. Everything was cash, and he'd even take checks, but he had somebody else that would go cash the checks. So when they
Right.
told him he'd have to do all this and that, and get a business account and everything, he's like, "I'm just going to retire."
Yeah. Then what are you gonna do to me?
Yeah.
you know. I mean,
Stop.
these older people, they like grandparents. Okay, and I'm older than what you guys are, but people my age, your grandparents, which would be your guys' great grandparents, um, most of them were fourth and eighth grade. That's the highest their schooling went, and yet those people were the most smartest people. They knew how to think and figure out things and had to invent things, you know.
Yep.
And I mean, that was when,
You may do with what you had for sure.
yeah,
My grandmother would go to school for half a day. She did go through um, she graduated high school, but she'd only go half a day during when they would pick cotton in the cotton fields, and that's how she met my grandfather. My grandfather's family had a bunch of fields and stuff, and that's how she met him. She was picking cotton in the fields. um, but yeah, during when they would pick cotton, that was it. Whenever they butchery pigs, when they do a slaughter the pigs, she wouldn't go to school. They all just that's what they did. When school was secondary to everything else that had to happen.
right. Well, back,
Even when she get home from school, she'd have to go out in the fields and help them pick if they were still picking, because
right.
when it was time to pick, it was time to pick.
That's like up north, for the longest time, kids went to school, but when harvest season came, they didn't have school
Yep.
because those kids were busy helping harvest the crops,
Yep.
you know.
Stop eating.
And then if one of their parents passed away, well, then
They had
the
to
kids
quit.
had to pick up
Pick up the
you
slack.
know, the
You know,
slack.
kind of what you. I was listening before I came on. One second. What? Hurry up! Tell him your name.
I got.
He's Colt.
Hello, Colt.
I had a guy that was that I worked with. He's in his 20s, and he complains he doesn't make enough money. Which when I was 20 years old, I was making less than a quarter of what he's making in the same position. So they're making a lot more money, but he's complaining he doesn't make enough money. You know, he has to work, his girlfriend has to work, and all this and that. I'm like, well, she really doesn't. You make plenty of money to where she doesn't have to work, but you don't need a brand new vehicle. You don't need two cell phones. You can have a home phone. You don't need internet. There's a whole bunch of things that your parents and your grandparents never had that they didn't have to spend money on, and you don't have to either. It's all a choice. You know,
Right,
you choose to have all those extras. You choose to have a $1,200 phone every 6 months. You choose to have $200 a month phone bill. You're home for 14 days out of the month. You have $200 in cable and internet charges at your house. A $900 truck note, a $200 a month insurance. I told him I dropped my trucks. I traded in a 30-year-old truck. I parked it because it blew up to buy a 25-year-old truck. That's There's a difference. They don't understand. It's gift to me, gift to me. There's a big difference in what younger people think. I'm not going to call them kids because you can't call a 20-year-old a kid. You
No,
know,
you can't. But
anybody
it, I,
anybody that calls a 20-year-old a kid is only stringing on young adults to make them believe that it's not their fault.
a
I'm not,
$60,000 car.
yeah, you don't need a $60,000 core.
No,
Exactly.
that'll actually buy you a house.
Uh,
Just saying. Maybe
yeah,
not in big cities, but you go out in the country, it'll definitely. Oh yeah.
and I'm not saying that just about that kid. My oldest daughter, she's 26, and they just her and her husband. She just got married. And they bought a house, and there was a house right behind mine, on a half acre, and a nice little town. For the value of it was 180,000. I'm sorry, $160,000, and the guy had been trying to sell it for years. It never sold. Um, they ended up selling it for $80,000. She wouldn't even go look at it because it didn't have central air in it. I'm like, for $10,000, you can put your central air brand new. I'm not going. They ended up buying a $220,000 house. That just to me that doesn't make any sense when you're starting out. It's
Yeah, it don't because the simple fact you're starting down at the bottom, okay?
yep,
You work your way up. And that's one thing like even my late husband never understood. Why do the kids nowadays think they should have that they have to have what mom and dad took 30, 40 years of their life to
dude,
earn?
that's right.
They built it. They earned every penny of it. Every sweat and tear went into getting what they got. And
Right.
yet they just want it handed to them. And I tell y'all, that ain't how life works. You
Well, and
know,
my daughter, I'm really lucky. Her husband's an engineer and she's a teacher. They both have a good head on their shoulders. When they got married, the only thing they owed on was college loans and a couple vehicle notes. But it's still their college loans and vehicle notes is more than my house note. But they don't have kids. They're doing it right. They don't ask for money for sure. I'll put it like that. But
right.
the house they purchased is way more than I would enjoy spending. I
It,
could spend the money on a lot of other things.
it's like great grandmas and grandpas to you guys, grandma and grandpa to me. Um, when they had something in their house, it had to have more than one use. Otherwise, they didn't have luxuries. Okay, and I mean, when they were younger, it was horse and buggy time. Okay, and they were around. They saw the cars come, and then they saw the electricity come, and all that stuff. Well, the electricity was in the big cities first. Wasn't out in the little towns. It wasn't out in the country, you know. And so, I mean, they knew what hard work was, but they weren't afraid of it either, you
It
know.
was such a big treat when we go to our grandparents because she always had those little strawberry candies in the ashtray on the coffee table. That was when we go visit. That was a treat. Run straight over there and we'd suck down as many of them little candies as we could while we were there.
Oh,
You
we
know,
only got one piece of hard candy
only got
with
one.
the candy dish. Well, it was a treat,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. And
So
but I mean, just the way things are different, really different. I didn't mean to change the subject on it. You were talking about that a little bit earlier. I wanted to put my two
no,
cents in on that. It's
what you're saying is true though. It's like, some fish stay away from credit cards, man.
yes.
You want to go straight and belly up. That's a good way to do it. You know.
Uh, Loans on your vehicles. We bought the last two vehicles we bought. Um, we did purchase them with credit, but we did it through um, interest free. We went in, and the same way I dress when I'm working in my yard is the same way I dress when I go look for something. Walked in there and my truck, like I had that 30-year-old truck, it was barely staying alive. And we went and looked for Sheena a new car because her job, she was going to be out on the road quite a bit. And I wanted something newer that we wouldn't have to have issues with for a long time. So we went look, and the guy kind of looked at us like, hmm. So after we made the deal on the price, he wanted to run the credit. I said no. I told him the only way I'm buying it is if I don't have to pay interest on it. Uh, and he's like, well, it just depends what your credit is and everything. And he didn't want to come out and say it, but you could tell in his eyes he was skeptical. Then when he comes back, he's like, you sure you just want to buy that little car? You don't want to buy something more? Your credit's amazing. Yeah. That's because I buy just what I need, nothing more.
Right. And Sunfish is right. You know, um, if you can't afford it, you don't need it.
Right.
Or you save your pennies up until you can, because you have to, there's a difference between the I have to have this and the I wants.
Right. Right.
And a lot of people don't get that part either. I
Well,
mean,
our thing with the car, we go to northern Alabama at least 8 times a year to drop off and pick up our daughter. So she goes visit with her family and her dad and everything in Ohio. So we go up there 8 times a year. And Sheena's a hospice, a CNA for hospice. So she goes around. She might drive 50 miles one day and 80 miles the next day. So with my job schedule, I wanted to make sure she had something nice. But as far as my vehicle, I paid $2,200 for my truck, and I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off and move on from there.
right.
It's be
And what people don't realize is the the women and the men, because I know there are some guys that work in dealing with the hospice too. Okay, those people are so valuable to the families that they help.
she
Um, and I can say that I know this firsthand.
Sheena, she's helped a lot of people, and she's there's only been one place where she's had issues. They've actually put her in the obituary multiple times, for helping comfort the people, in the end. And
Yep.
she likes her job, and to the point where she had to actually decide on, because she's in the medical field, she had to decide if she was going to get it or not and look for something else. So she's deciding on that right now. They just sent the email out. Uh, you,
Well, I I I notice how she de-stresses. We'll call it de-stresses
mm.
herself. Okay. Um, by the presents that she sends. You know, Mr. John.
She's different with John. It's like actually a totally different person when she's with John. She really does have a lot of stress and has a hard time dealing with it and dealing with some of the anxiety and stuff like that. But for some reason, when it comes to John, she's straight to the point and kind of pokes her chest out at him like, "Come on, bring it." but that's a little facade for Shed War. She's not like that all the time.
Micro farmer.
How you doing, Micro Farmer? Farms?
No, it's micro
Uh,
farms.
right, Micro
Um,
Farm.
same old blid blab community. Actually, no, we're not. And we talk about all kinds of things. And yeah, we're talking about grandparents and great grandparents. And doing things. Put it this way: I know for a fact that if there was no gas and no electricity, and not everybody's going to have solar, okay? Not everybody's going to be willing to do things manually because it takes a lot more work to do it.
Oh yeah.
And yes, it does take somebody special to do hospice, you know. I don't care who you are because it is so stressful. It's like nurses when they're in the hospital, working with patients. Hi, Gray Wolf. And they get close to those patients. It's like nurses in nursing homes. They get close to their patients. And then when one passes away, it really upsets them. It hurts. Okay? And to me, you want to say thank you to the women and the men that work with hospice.
Yeah.
You want to say thank you to the nurses that work in the nurses or the hospitals and the nursing homes. Why? Because they're doing what most people
Couldn't do.
can't and won't do. Okay? And the reason they won't, they don't want to be straddled with taking care of an older person. They don't want to have to deal with that. They don't want to have to be there and go through all the stress. And I can say all of this firsthand because I know. I
Hmm.
done it. Okay? I done it. And I know how stressful it is. It gets so stressful. You yourself have to go and have an hour away from the situation. So when you go back, you're game on again. You know.
She's been doing it for 15 years. As far as she started off working in the nursing homes, and I think it's been about 3 years she's been doing the hospice care. And she's gotten really attached to some of them, to the point where, I mean, she was really really upset when they passed away, to where she was, you know, for a couple weeks, and we had to talk about that. It's like, you can't be doing stuff like that. You know, we're here for you, but you can't be like that with your family.
Right.
You know, with something like that. But you know, we made blackberries a couple. It's been 2 years ago, I think, that we made the blackberries. We made 140 something, 130 something. I don't remember now, but 100 and something jars of blackberry jam. And she's actually, you know, when the people stop eating that she's taking care of, she'll bring that and they'll put the blackberry jam on toast or on bread, and it's so nice to see the people's face, you know, when they eat it, because they really like it. It kind of wakes them up. Um, yeah, we brought some seeds. A lot of the older people around here, they're still, you know, that's in the hospice, is still trying to do a little bit of gardening, even if it's in buckets and stuff like that. So we sent them some seeds, to one of them this week. I'm gonna send him a couple patio eggplants,
Well,
plants that I have started. You know, it's
the one thing people don't realize when you've got older relatives and they go to the nursing homes. Don't be afraid to go see them. Go see them. Okay? Just because they're in that nursing home don't mean that they can't enjoy things to the best of their ability. And even if it's just growing plant in a pot, you know what?
Mhm.
A lot of enjoyment out of it, you
Yep.
know.
Keep
And
keeping them doing the same things, you know, as close to the same things as they were doing before.
and back in the day, they didn't have nursing homes. No, they didn't even have hospitals. The person stayed in your home with you. You took care of them. And then they had the houses had one, maybe two parlors, depending on how rich of a person you were, which was two front rooms. Okay, one was your living room, and the other one was the room that you used for formal. And if there was a funeral, they put the body in your room, in your one parlor, and they would have somebody sit up with what they called sitting up with the dead
Yeah.
until the funeral. You know, I mean, this is
Stay,
how they
staying
did
with the
it.
grand, staying with the older people, you know, in your family and taking care of them. That's changed more along the lines when, you know, both parents had to go to work. You know, when you got two people that have to work, it's hard to take care of somebody. It's
Yeah.
hard to have someone, you know, home, and it's a really sad situation, you know, with stuff like that. You know, Sheena has the opportunity to stay home. She doesn't. She chooses to work. The reason she went with hospice is she's able to put, you know, Colt on the bus, and 99% of the time she's home to get him off of the bus. So it works out well, that job. She's just not the type of person that could stay home. She gets depressed with it and gets upset, and it's just not a good thing.
And then hit the back arrow at the bottom.
We're checking something out
Oh, I
here.
gotta go back to it now.
Okay.
Um, that micro. I know how to do it
They
here.
literally, there's it. They have nothing. They're nothing.
Yeah. Well, just a second. We'll double check it, triple check it. You know what I mean? Let's see, where did it go? We're checking out Micro Farmer Farm.
It's just a name. He doesn't have any. I just looked at it. He doesn't have any videos or anything.
Yeah, no content is what Chris
Nothing.
came up with.
Right.
So he might how do I want to put it? Might not be legit.
I've seen him before, or her, whoever it is. I've seen him in a few of the live streams, different different live streams.
Well, I'm questioning on is he just want does he just want to come around and stir the pot? You know what
Right.
I mean?
I understand what you're saying. That's
Because no, we're not talking about the same old here. We're talking about things that is taboo. People don't talk about this stuff,
yeah.
you know? And I'm sorry, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it. Why? Because people like Sender need to be told you're doing a beautiful job.
Oh yeah.
Keep up the good work. You know, they the families thank them so much. You know, the nurses in the hospitals thank them.
Yeah.
You know, the
Especially the
nurses
ones
in
that
the nursing homes thank them.
the
Okay,
ones that really take pride in their job and is not just there for for the check. There are a lot of them that
that are there
go.
for the people.
Yep, they go above and beyond. There's a lot. Uh,
You know,
Gray Wolf Outdoors says he had a resident that used to hunt and couldn't hunt anymore, so he bought him a Nerf gun and targets, and
yeah.
that's so much fun. Just something simple like that does such it brings
Although
perks
he
them
could,
up so much.
although he wasn't allowed to shoot at the nurses, and they would have taken that Nerf gun away.
Oh,
But I mean, it's like when I was a kid. Okay, the
mhm,
lady of the house, she worked at the hospital, and when the nurses had kids and they weren't off work and the kids were there, they would put them back in like the ER area of the hospital.
right,
Now you sit in this room, you do not touch anything. Anybody comes in, you guys step out in the hallway and you stay out of the road. Meaning if there's an emergency,
right.
okay? So growing up, going to the hospitals didn't bother us. And I got sick one time really bad, and the doctor said, "Oh, you're hyperventilating." And I looked at the man and I said, "I used to play in your hospital in this room." And he went, "Whoa," you know, because he wasn't a doctor back then. And I mean, nowadays they don't dare to do that kind of stuff like they did back then. But we were comfortable. Hospitals didn't make us nervous. It's like also worked at the nursing home for a while, so going around the people in nursing homes didn't bother us. You know, um, yeah, we didn't have the typical experience that people have in life. We had relatives that were police officers. You know, so you know, um, and nowadays the officers kind of look at you like you're crazy because you know they're standoffish, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna tell you guys something. You wanna have friends with civilians because your butt might be in a situation where a civilian's gonna be the only thing that gets you out alive.
It's the
You
little
know?
town I live in is really nice. We know most of the cops, the police officers. Went to school with them, went to school with their kids, or we went to school, with their parents, because there's a age difference in a lot of them. So I mean, I like the small town. I love the small town atmosphere that it has over here. We go out and we walk along the side of the roads. We go to the library. We'll walk to the library. It's about a half mile, so it's a mile round trip. We take Colt with us. We go do that, or we'll walk to the store every once in a while. It's a little bit closer to than the library, but just getting out and walking around and not having to worry about anything really with it. Daughter rides up to the grocery store when she wants something, and she'll grab that and come back, and Colt can play outside by himself. We don't have to worry about him. It's not often you find a place like that.
No, it ain't. Cause around here you don't go outside by yourself. You never know.
I do.
And
Nobody's ever taken me yet. I try. I flag them down. Hey, they don't
oh
want
man,
to.
you try flagging somebody down around here. I mean, this is a little village, but it's so funny. You try flagging somebody down around here, and they're like, "Oh my, they want to stop. They want me to stop and what? Ah, no, I don't know. Got to keep going. You know,
Around here, somebody's broke down on the side of the road. They'll put, hey, you need some help. Your phone's working. You need to make a call. You able, if it's somebody from around here, they're like, oh yeah, I'm good. No worries. They'll sit and visit on the side of the road till the other people gets there. If it's somebody from out of town, they lock themselves back in the car. Like, I'm just trying to help. There actually are good people left in the world. Um,
right?
you know,
There was a semi driver that I knew several years ago, and he was transporting grain from the farm to the co-op. Okay, and so I stopped. I said, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just on my phone." I was like, "Okay." He couldn't believe I stopped to check on him, and I'm like, "Well, that's just how we do it." You know.
yeah, that's amazing.
Grey Wolf said that the nurses in that home acted like they were at the game. They had a blast doing it with him. That's awesome. CNN, CNA, that I know finally quit because she cared too deeply. She was the best CNA when my dad was in the rehab. Oh, Tiny Tim, that is so sad because more of them are needed.
That's
You
what
know.
Sheena does. Sheena's a CNA, and it does it gets to her sometimes.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
But like she says, if she quits, then she's gonna have something missing because that's what she's done basically since she's gotten out of high school.
right.
So she'll have something missing, and she likes it. She likes being part of the. Yeah, I don't know if you heard or not. She said that she feels that's what she was put on this earth to do. So
Yeah, that's why I don't care what anybody says. I know that there are some people, and Sender is not one of them. But there are some that they don't belong in that line of work. But there are more of them that I know that work in that line of work, and they're beautiful. They are beautiful at doing their job. They're beautiful with the way they treat the people, the clients. They're beautiful with the way they treat the families of the clients, you know. So when you see them, say thank you. Even if it's not your family member that they've dealt with, tell them thank you.
yep,
Tell them they're doing a great job, because it'll mean the world. It's like going to the store. You go to the store, you get your food, okay? Where'd that food come from? How'd that food get to the store? Well, the truckers had to bring it. Well, where did the truckers get it? Well, they got it from the farmers. Most people in big cities don't even understand that part
yeah.
of the equations.
The food just shows up at the store. They don't know how it gets there.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, that's
they asked that eighth grader a while back on one of the TikToks or something. You know, where did tomatoes come from? The grocery store. No, for real.
yeah,
Like, where did tomatoes come from? The grocery store. You go
yeah.
there and
Where
you pick
where
it
did
up.
where did your hamburger come from? Oh, at the grocery store.
Yes.
Well, what if the truckers ain't got nothing to do with it? It's just at the grocery. That's where it goes. That's where you get it. That's where it's
It
at. Period. End of story.
teleports there.
Yeah, you know, and this deal with the truckers is just well
Everything's a
here's
mess.
yeah,
Yeah.
but here's the best part about it. Okay, the truckers started, and then the farmers. This gets good. The farmers joined the truckers.
Oh yeah.
Okay, one tractor cracked me up because he had a sign on the back of his tractor, and it said, "Farmers grow it and truckers haul it," and they were there in support. Now The cowboys are showing up on the horses in support. Okay? And the unibrow, he's still in hiding. And he's the one town, Ottawa, was telling the truckers they had to leave. The cops were telling the truckers they had to leave. Well, they also had this one officer who said, I won't do it. He said, if you got the jab, I don't hold nothing against you, which I don't. I don't hold nothing against those that's gotten the jab. If you don't want the jab, I don't have nothing against you either, you know. And he said, that's fine. If you don't want it, that's fine too. I'm not here to say anything. But he says, if you think I'm going to push these unlawful acts to tell these people they can't, you better think again. He says, and to the fellow officers, you better be thinking it over before you go through with it too. Because he goes, and what are you going to do? You going to take my job away? Go ahead. You going to take my pay away? Go ahead. He says, you're not changing my ways. I
It
have to
doesn't.
stand up.
They tell all the people in the medical field, you got to take it. It's safer for you. But then you become a spreader that doesn't show signs of it. Allegedly, you don't show signs of it. So if you have it, but you don't have any symptoms, you're spreading it to the people that might not have it, that are going in to the hospitals or anything like that. They're already having some type of immune deficiency because they're either sick or they're in the hospital for some reason. So you're making all the people in the hospital, the employees have to take the shot. And so you can have a big hive of spreading. Everyone that goes in there might not go in with it, but they're probably coming out with it.
Yeah, well, I saw a story not too long ago, and this woman, she got the shot because where her daughter was getting married, they had to have the shot. And like 4 days, within 4 days time span, the lady passed away because she got the shot. And her doctors came right out and said it was due to the shot that she passed away.
I'm sure there's a lot of that happens that they don't talk about it.
Nope, they try to quiet it, you know. And there, we're not we're not afraid to say no, no more. Ain't gonna take it. Okay. It's like what people don't understand. The national debt ain't ours. That's theirs. Yep.
They'll just tax it
Your
out of us.
your birth certificate. Hmm. That is their straw man account. Okay, it's got a special number to you. Your social security number. It also has a special number to it. And on the back of your social security number or card now, it says do not take this card off of this paper. It also says this paper belongs to the Social Security Department, and if they want to, they can ask for it back.
Really,
Yep.
take it back.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you vote, they send you your voting papers, if you do absentee,
Right.
it's got a number on it for you. Nobody
Specific.
else has got that. Yep. So you see, when they say they don't keep track of you, they do. They know
Oh yeah.
exactly how you voted, who you voted for, blase, blase, blase.
And that's another reason they want to get rid of the hard currency and go straight to digital currency. You know,
Yeah.
they go to digital currency, they'll know everything you do.
Well,
There's no
not
way to
just
stop
that.
it.
Not just that.
And they could tax take.
Right now, the way it is with the banks and that. Okay, back when great grandma and grandpa, for you guys, my grandma and grandpa for me, back when the Great Depression happened in 1929. The banks closed.
Yep.
They didn't. The people tried to do a run on the bank. The banks closed. Rich people that had millions, they were now poor. People that were poor that didn't have a lot of money in the bank but had some, well, they didn't get that money either. The banks took it.
The banks failed, lost
Yep.
it.
Yeah, but the government took the money.
Right. Oh, that's what it. Okay.
So, no matter what, yeah, it's up to you to figure out what you want to do, you know. But I'm telling you the truth on this stuff, okay? Um, look up your look up the straw man and birth certificate on YouTube.
I've seen a video about the straw man.
Yep.
Hadn't.
And I've known about that one for a lot of years already. What I'm telling you is stuff that I've known about for a lot of years. Okay? I actually and so I'm not making any of this stuff up. Okay? But there comes a time when you gotta say, hey, I ain't gonna take it anymore. You gotta figure out where it is that you want to draw your line in the sand. Okay? Because when they knock at your door, it's a little too late, baby.
Yep. A lot of people ask me that, lately they want to buy shirts or hats from my channel, and I haven't sold any. I give away a few here and there, and it's like, well, let me Venmo you or let me do this, and so, it's like I'm not doing it because then it ends up, now they if it's over $60 you receive any one of them, they're gonna send you basically a 1099 for it.
Yep.
If I send my daughter $100 on Venmo, she's gonna have to do a 1099 at the end of the year and explain where the money came from and what was it for.
Not only that, they're watching everybody with Venmo. They're
Oh yeah,
watching everybody with PayPal.
yeah,
They're watching all of this money being sent to everybody so that they can get the tax
tax,
money from it.
yeah,
Okay? Now, you want their debt? The national debt is not ours, it's theirs. Okay? And if you want that to go, make them pay their fair share. Okay? They can, oh, we've got it invested. No, uh-uh. No, that don't matter because we sent Joe Blow some money, right? Cajun and I sent Joe Blow some money, and I used Venmo, and Cajun used a different way, and we sent Joe Blow some money. We were making an investment, were we not?
whether we were making an investment or just giving him the money, now he's still got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, but were we not?
Right.
So how can that be any different than these other bozos? And not only that, we didn't use insider trading either.
Oh, I know that bars me up. That should be illegal. Yeah, I
It is
mean,
illegal. Martha Stewart went to
no,
prison for it.
it's not illegal. There's actually a law that lets them do it in the Congress and the Senate. They are exempt from that law.
Yeah. When did they put that law into effect? That
About,
exempt them.
about 30 years ago. It's been on the books for a while.
Yeah.
There is a law that it might even be further back than that, but there is a law on the books that they are exempt from that.
Their laws for them aren't supposed to be a damn bit different than the laws for us.
Every law they have for them is different.
Oh, I know that, but it's not supposed to be.
No, it's not. It shouldn't be. They should be stricter. They should be there upholding a higher standard of what they want this country to be like, not filling their pockets and kicking dirt on the people underneath them.
They work for us. We don't work for them.
That's yes.
Newsflash.
But once they get in there, they just exactly lobbyists equals bribers. Lobbying should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to give them a house. You shouldn't be able to give them money. You shouldn't be able to donate. If you work for a company that you shouldn't be able to donate. Unions shouldn't be able to donate money. They shouldn't. If you're a corporation, you shouldn't be able to donate money. You shouldn't be able to use your power, your influence, or your money to dictate what's coming, because not what's coming. Who's elected, because it's unfair. The people that really need the guidance, or not the guidance, but the proper politicians in office, we never get the people we need because it's always the money
They've got
factor.
it all set up ahead of time.
Correct.
And yeah, Tiny Tim, you're right. Lobbyists equal bribers.
Yeah.
It's like the FDA with um this this company's pill or shot is okie dokie. This company's medicine's okie dokie. Oh wait, that company, it didn't give us the money that we want. Well, we're doing a recall. That
Yeah.
medicine's no good no more.
Or the same medicine they sell in the United States for $200 is $2 or $3 in another country.
Yep.
That should be illegal. If you're going to sell it at this point right here, it should be sold like that everywhere. If you go into the hospital with insurance, the hospital shouldn't be able to lower, or raise the prices because you have insurance, as opposed to people that don't have insurance. People that don't have insurance, there's a different cost sheet that the hospitals follow, as opposed to those that do have insurance. So paying insurance, while it helps, it still doesn't. It's not on even ground, because someone who doesn't have insurance is still going to pay less than you would with your insurance, instead of it being the opposite.
See, and what we're talking about is all these facts that are legit facts. I don't care what anybody else says, they are legit facts.
Yep.
Check them out. Don't take our word for it. Look into it. You'll find out what we're saying is true. But
Ti-
all
ti-
of what's going on is why we also encourage you to grow your own food, to learn how to do things, manually, you know, because they want to shut the gas off. That's fine. You got electricity. You can still function. They shut the electricity off. Well, then your gas furnace ain't gonna do you any good.
yeah,
The
you
gas
don't know.
companies SOL then themselves. Okay, and you gotta. Um, it's like I said, you have a backup plan, and you also have to have a backup plan to your backup plan. Why? So no matter what move they make, you're still able to function. All right. And with the way the prices on food and everything, and I mean everything, is going, if you can grow your own food, it's that less money that you have to spend at the store.
I paid $4 this morning for a pound and a half of tomatoes. $4, and that was the cheap tomatoes.
Yeah.
It just, it's crazy. And hopefully next year at this time, my greenhouse is set up and I have tomatoes growing, because I can only imagine what the prices are going to be with the way things are going right now.
Well, I'll tell you something, okay? Last month, um, the heat bill, and I'm not exaggerating this any, okay? Last month, the heat bill was for the house I live in was $455 on the dot.
That's electric or
Okay,
gas?
no gas.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, guess what? This coming time, I already know what my bill is. It's $575 and some cents. Okay.
Wow.
Now, no, we don't have fuel assistance or heating assistance or any of that stuff. We're not rich either. We do live on a fixed income. But here's the deal: the gas company. Well, so you owe us this much money. Yep. They sent me a text. I got it today, and it said, "Oh, you paid your bill for last month." Well, that's because it took their company's person 4 days for it to get put into the computer. Okay, it used to take their company person 2 weeks to put your information into their computer to tell them that it got paid. All right. Anyhow, there are, it's only going to get worse,
Yep.
and they want it to get worse. They're punishing us for their greed. They've
Putting
got a
them.
sickness,
Yep.
you know.
Our gas bill last year at this time was 50, $60, and well, this time last year was $50 or $60, and the one we just got in Friday or Thursday was $130. That's how
Well,
much is going up, and we used less natural gas this year than we did last year at this time.
I haven't been doing baking. I haven't done candy making this year, okay? Because I didn't want to use the gas. I really didn't want to. Hi Grant, how you doing? Oh, Grant, you're always welcome here, honey. You know that. Um, anyhow, it's pretty bad when you have to decide, you know, because I don't buy candy for us. I make it. And we don't buy cookies at the store. We make them. But when you gotta go, okay, do I get to make a little bit of candy for my kids or cookies for my kids? You know,
Yeah,
there's a problem. That's a
Tim.
big problem.
Tim had said $10 for aspirin, and it is. It's ten to like. I went in a couple years back. I cut my thumb on the table, so they gave me three ibuprofen for it, and the three ibuprofen were $30 a piece. I have a friend
Dang,
that works at the hospital said that if I wouldn't have had insurance, that same ibuprofen would have cost $1 a piece. You know that.
dang.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
the farmers he's talking about also about the increase 300%. I've seen that on the price for the hydroponic fertilizer. It went up almost about 75%. And I ordered in October. I ordered enough to get me through about 2 years. That way I didn't have to worry about it, and it's gone up since then. It's almost 100% more right now than it was last year at this time.
well, that's like back great grandpa. Okay,
Hmm.
great grandpa. To you guys, um, with hi alien, um, when he done his crops, he'd keep some of the seeds. That way, he had his seeds for the coming
Following you.
year.
Yep.
Okay, you'd go up in the attic and you'd find ears of corn stuck on nails in the attic. He was trying it out for the coming year. You know, um, this is how they done it. Now you don't dare to do that. No.
Well,
Uh
they,
uh
they, my great grandmother. We lived next door to her when we were growing up. Myself and my twin brother, my family, and they had a barn that they had for the chickens. You know, it made sense. You know, you go pick your eggs inside the barn, but every year she'd get hay or she'd go cut hay and fill it up 2 to 3 feet of it inside the chicken pen or inside the barn where the chickens laid and inside the chicken coop. She'd fill it up 2 or 3 feet inside of it. You couldn't hardly see the chickens walking around in it. And but every year at this time of year, and in the early spring for us, really early, but she'd go and clean it out and dump it in her garden. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
and that's how she got her fertilizer. She didn't need a half-acre garden, and she had her garden was probably maybe 12 by 30
They'd
under the
also
tree, in the
they
middle of nowhere. It's
they would also go out and get the dried cow patties.
yes, yep,
They would also go out and get the dried horse
the horse
poop.
chunks, yep. The but
Okay, and they would use that for fertilizers.
they would use
Okay,
it, put
now
that around the plants. They'd also she would soak hers that she'd pick up the dry cow patties and she'd put them in trash cans or old drums and let them soak, and that's where she'd get her water from. Basically, making a compost tea with it, and that's what she would use for watering her plants.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, you had your fields. Well, you would take and you would let your pigs go out in it. You let your sheep go out in it. You put your cows out in it. Why? Because each animal done something different to the ground
Yep.
to A, improve the ground, B, their poop is magnificent, different stages, different forms of fertilizers. Okay? You didn't have to go buy it. They didn't start pushing the store bought fertilizers until World War II.
Too.
That's when they started with pushing that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay?
when the mega farms started coming up, and they needed to be able to do it instead of, you know, buying it cheaper instead of buying it from local.
Yeah, and another thing is the mega farmers, they haven't been around that long.
No, World War
Okay?
Two. They started building up
Um
stuff like that around World War Two.
the
And
mega farmers, like when I say mega farmers, I'm talking about the farmers that we have nowadays where they're only allowed to have one animal. One, if you have cows, you don't get pigs and chickens. Okay? And
oh,
if you got sheep, you don't get pigs, chickens and cows. Um the mega farmers, they haven't been around that long. For one, hi Jason, and two, now they're going after the mega farmers, because they had to drive mom and dad little farms out. People that had farms in the family for centuries, they had to drive those little farmers out.
yep.
Because they wanted the mega farmers. Well, guess what? Now they don't want them either.
No, well, I mean, the biggest thing about the mega, the huge, farms is right now they're seeing that the delivery system has issues with it. Um, the oh shoot, not the FDA. They were doing the greenhouses. They would get if you would grow plants, the government was actually giving you a greenhouse to grow in. You had to go through the process, set it up, and everything. Depending on where you were, you or the type of greenhouse you purchased, you might have to come out of pocket a little bit. I was I had got one. I was approved for one right before I moved from the country over here, and I ended up turning it down. But they're starting to see that the infrastructure set up for it's not there. The amount of emissions and stuff that are produced, shipping everything from a central location, out. It's not worth it. Not when you can grow stuff local. Your food lasts longer. And people are starting to see that again too. That the food you buy at the grocery stores isn't the same as what you're going to get if you buy it from a farmer's market or
Or
something like that. It has
or get it
flavor,
out of your own garden.
or get it out your own garden. Exactly. I had people showing up over here last year. We gave away. We produced just out the two greenhouses just over 1,400 pounds of tomatoes, and we had 1,230 or 1,280 pounds of actual edible tomatoes. We had a bunch of them. We ended up getting a mouse in the greenhouse, and it was hard to catch. So he was eating some of them. We threw them to the chickens, but we weighed all that. But we had people like 9 o'clock at night knocking on the door. Hey, y'all got some tomatoes? So and so said they bought some tomatoes from y'all. We gave away all we could, and when we hit that point, that the people we were giving them to just like, don't bring no more tomatoes. We can't eat anymore. You
Yeah,
know,
Jason said, I've been lurking a bit. Now my grandma, but the fish parts, she put fish parts under her every tree bush planted. Okay, and Grant, well, isn't he the king of the crops here? I have tons and tons of chicken and cow manure. Gee whiz, you guys want to come see me? Um, Jason, very true. They have a plan for a plan. Very true. They have a plan. They have to plan the variety around the shipping. Well, actually, what they're doing is they're using the shipping. Okay, they're telling the ships what they can and cannot unload off of the ships and when they can and cannot unload what it is. Okay, and then they don't let you know that part. They blame the dock hands. They blame the truckers, but what they don't tell you is not all semis will fit in that dock. Okay? They have a certain size semi. It's not a full size semi. It's like the railroad. The trains had full size trains, and then they had um 3/4 3/4 train,
Right.
which was less a smaller train than what the full size was. Well, only the smaller semis will fit into the ports. They don't tell that part.
And
So,
they did that. Another thing that California is doing to minimize, or I think it's more along the lines, they say it's to minimize emissions, but I think it's more along the lines to, minimize the truck and the traffic through there to where they're one of the major port cities or town states in the country. I think it's 2 or 3 years, 5 years, something like that. But the only trucks they're going to allow, 18 wheelers, are going to be electric on the roads in California in the next, so many years. And, while it sounds good in theory, it's just, there's not even a truck that's close to being invented to be able to work it like that. But
right.
it also corners the market on anyone that can go in there and actually do work with it, because how many people is going to actually go into California and then leave California, drive cross country with an electric vehicle? you know
Um, those
they'll drive across California, then have to park for 2 days to charge the batteries.
the yeah, well, that's just it. Those electric cars, they're not going to make it very far. How can I say that? Because their battery charges won't make it that far.
Right.
Okay? They won't have enough um stops, enough places to plug
To
in
charge.
to
They
charge
don't,
them, charging
they don't have
stands.
they don't have places for the 18 wheelers to park right now on the side of the roads with the laws they put in to where they have to stop at this hour or so and so. They don't have places. They have 18 wheelers parked all along the sides of the highway. They're getting tickets because they run out of time and they don't have place to park. But they want to do electric 18 wheelers. It, it's a bad system that's coming.
Oh,
It's
it's not just 18 wheelers. They want everything electric.
Right, but I'm talking about specifically in California. They're
Oh
not going
yeah.
to allow an 18. They're not right now. They're not allowing an 18 wheeler that's more than 5 years old to be driven in California. You don't hear about that. They're not letting certain drivers into the state to drive for different companies unless they want to sign up with the unions. It's not a good situation. It's really not. To me, it seems like they're trying to get the upper hand in the shipping and kind of be like Amazon, but with everything that comes in. You're going to get it when you get it, and this is the price you're going to pay. Right now, it's going to be cheap, but in a couple of years, when you're on the hook with it, then we're going to go up, and that's how we're going to get our state out of debt. We're going to charge it off to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean it's just crazy. Um because Amazon's raising their prices too.
Yeah.
Tiny Tim said back in the 30s or 40s, my dad's uncle was told they would pay for crops if he plowed them up. He did. The next year, he was just told to plow it up, no pay. Yeah, because they were making the problems then already. Grant's got a lot of chicken houses around, and I got cows. It's a plus. Yes, it is a very big blessing, you know. And Jason, I was trying to say a variety of vegetables that large producers grow is only the ones that could be ripened as they are shipped across the states.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And that's it. And the same thing with the greenhouse tomatoes and tomatoes. They pick them at first flush to where they can put them on a truck and they can be shipped and packaged and everything in a 2 to 3 week period. And then by the time they get to the store, they'll they're started a really good way into turning red or the color that they end up. But when you pick them early like that, the sugars and the starches and everything don't have time to develop. That's why you don't find really good taste in tomatoes especially. You don't find good tasting tomatoes at the grocery store because of the shipping time. They're picked so early, they don't have time to develop and get the sweetness and the
They're
oh,
not sun ripened.
they're not sun ripened. Sun ripened. I mean, it's yeah, the sun ripened.
Not sun dried, it's sun
Yeah,
ripened.
yeah.
They
Yeah, they can't build up their structure because they've been picked too early.
right.
Um, you know, last year somebody showed up. The first person showed up over here to buy tomatoes. I didn't even want to deal with it, and they're like, "Well, how much you selling your tomatoes for?" I said, I'm really not. Well, what would you take for some tomatoes at $2 a pound? And they're like, "That's it." I'm like, and I sold tomatoes $2 a pound from when we started selling them until we shut the greenhouses down, and people were still coming. I'm like, you know, and then you go to the grocery store and see they're charging $2.50, $3 a pound for tomatoes. Like, I should go up on my price. But
See, around here, a greenhouse is not a very good thing for me to have because I live where it's really, really cold in the
right,
wintertime.
right,
Otherwise, yeah, I would love to, but I don't have any place to put a greenhouse inside my house. I don't have any place to grow plants inside my house because the windows on this house aren't in the right spots where you need
for light.
the the light for the plants.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but I do the best I can with what I got, and I grow my garden. I never know. I never say what I'm going to plant because I never know how or what's going to grow, what's not going to grow. Um, it depends on the weather, and I have an agreement with God. I plant it, He waters it, it grows. I harvest it, I deal with it. It works out great. It's been a great relationship I've had on this garden deal, but um they were selling morel mushrooms around here, $65 a pound last year. Yeah, that's normal for those mushrooms. But you know what? Those people, they're just greedy, you know. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I know it takes time to go out and find them, but really, when I went mushroom hunting, I enjoyed going mushroom hunting.
They're gonna get what
And
they can sell them for. You
yeah,
know, I've been asked already this year. The people's already asking if we have tomatoes ready, and I told them we hadn't even planted yet this year. But they're asking what the price is going to be. I said probably the same thing as last year, thinking they would fuss about the price, and they're like, "Wow, we figured you'd be going up on your price." Like, I don't really sell the tomatoes to make money off of it. We ended up selling enough last year to be able to pay for the fertilizer this year on the greenhouse. So as long as we can keep doing that, I'm super content with it. It keeps me busy. It keeps me happy. I tell them all the time, it's not about making money. It's about making a name. Hopefully that, when I get old enough to retire, I can keep doing that and make a little bit extra money on the side, selling the tomatoes or, whatever we're growing. But they can't believe that I'm going back with the same price this year as last year. They figured it'd be $3.50 a pound. The couple people that I've talked to already, and said they wouldn't have an issue paying it because that's what it's going to be at the grocery stores. I talked to the guy at the grocery store. Oh, we'll buy all your tomatoes. I bet you will for $1 a pound, and you can turn around and sell it for $2.75, $3 a pound.
yeah.
Well,
Jason's
yeah,
got a load of cherry tomatoes in the freezer yet.
sure. We I think we put up 40 or 60 pounds of we blanched them and chopped them up for salsa. We still haven't messed with them. They're in the freezer. Uh, I get caught up with too many other hobbies, and like the strawberry towel right now is eating my lunch, trying to figure out a couple things on it so that I can and do it. But yeah, I wasn't even planning on that. I quit doing work on my greenhouses, and I started messing with a hydroponic strawberry towel. Bunky made me do it. Her and KK and Trey made a hydroponic tower for
Mhm.
lettuce and stuff. And I seen that, and the little 3-pot trays from the Dollar Tree. I had picked some up, a lot of them actually, and I had been trying to figure out how I would make it work and this and that and everything else. So finally, I just started putting it together and played with it till I kind of got it to work. And it's pretty neat. I went pick up the strawberries already. Now I'm having issues with putting the screens inside for the hydroponic drains, but taking a break from that right now. Trying to think about some things, but it's yeah, I need to really get into my greenhouses soon.
I'd like to get one of those um stands like you're talking about, but the problem is okay, get it, then where do I go with it? Because if you leave it on the cement heat will get too hot for it, you know. And if I leave it on the cement here, the water from the roof will come down and drown everything out. So, yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna show. I got a picture of the hydroponic. I think. Let's see.
We're gonna grow a lot of different kinds of tomatoes this year
It's for
because
strawberries. You could probably use it. I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's the tank on the bottom that pumps everything into the top and it cascades its way to the bottom,
oh wow.
recirculates it,
Yeah,
and
plants planters I want to get, but because then I could grow my herbs in it,
yeah,
you
we
know.
got those at the Dollar Tree. Right before they went up to $1.25 a piece. They were $1 a piece, and that would be perfect for herbs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It would. And I just took it, drilled a hole in the bottom of it, put the grommets, and passed the PVC pipe through it.
because you can get the tray yeah, the bottom piece is a tray with four wheels.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
those are from the Dollar Tree. They don't have that at the Dollar Tree. The I know the ones you're talking about. It's a green stalk or a green stay. They have white and the pots are a little bit bigger. I just purchased those at the Dollar Tree. They're real thin, and if I get 2 years of use out of them, I'll be happy.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna see how they work out. It's something that
It's a learning curve.
it's a learning, very, very much so. It's a learning curve. They're odd shaped, so it's hard for me to get my screens and stuff in there because I'm using pure light for the base, and it's going to be hydroponic, just like a Dutch bucket. So you put the water in it, and then it overflows um, from one to the next. So it's a learning experience, and the trial and error trying to figure everything out. I had one side completely filled with pure light, and the screens and everything went in place, and I turned it on, and it looked like it was working right. And then 15 minutes later, the screens were pushing off the side and everything. So I've been working on trying to find a type of glue that works. Um, that goes with growing. That's basically
Food
organic.
friendly.
Yeah, food friendly, and it's not as easy as with as much as everything right now is organic and this and that. Finding a glue that works with plastic is not real easy.
Yeah, that's why that's when we gotta think outside of the box
Yep,
sometimes.
and that's exactly right. But it also helps, thinking outside the box and doing stuff like that really makes it fun. You know,
Oh yeah.
when I finally solve that problem, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
And like my favorite saying is, if we goof up, well, we didn't really goof up. It's taught us something. We learned from it.
Yeah.
We learned that don't work. Okay, so let's try it again. Change it a little. Eventually, we get it and go, yes,
Yep. Everybody's going to make mistakes, but it's only a failure if you don't keep trying.
right. And I met a man um yesterday, and he's blowing my socks away. He crossbreeds pepper plants,
Yeah.
and I was like, I never heard of this.
That's a
You
big
know?
deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
Does
Well,
he do it for heat or he's doing it for taste and stuff?
I'm not exactly
Not sure.
sure. because he made me laugh. I'd never heard of it, okay? And I said, "I'd never heard of this. Thank you for sharing." Because he commented on one of my videos, and I went to his channel and I watched a video and I started laughing because I was like, "Yeah, okay, girl, you're really a smart one. You never heard of what he's talking about, and so you're gonna learn about that." But he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do the hot peppers this year or not because, man, I burnt myself really bad, And I'm like, uh-oh. And so I started typing in. I says, look, I look like a science geek in my backyard at my table, but I didn't care. I had gloves and I had the goggles on, and I'm cutting up the peppers and I'm scraping out the seeds and I'm just going to town getting this stuff ready. And I done really good. I done really good. Didn't get it in my eyes or anything, right? Took the plastic gloves off real careful and threw them in the garbage. Took some of my peppers in, put them on my dehydrator tray.
Went use the bathroom.
Nope. Uh-uh.
No.
And the dehydrator was, they were done in the dehydrator, and there was one seed that stuck to the tray, and I nudged it with my one fingernail just a little bit.
Mm.
And then, without thinking, I went and I rubbed my eye.
Oh my.
Just a little, just a little. And I had to tell Christy, get me a wet paper towel, get it now. And she's like, what? And she brought it over, and I started drenching my eye with it. And I says, get some more water on that paper towel, bring it here. Done it again. And then my eye was okay. So I was like, be very careful. you know. But yeah, and I do my peppers outside, the real hot ones, you know. I gotta get me some more sweet peppers this year, but yeah.
My pepper seeds didn't come up yet at all. At all. My tomatoes are just starting. I had an issue with that. I put the domes and the pans and everything like I normally do, and I just didn't have enough water at the beginning when I filled it up because normally I would fill it up and the top looked damp and there was plenty of moisture on the humidity domes, but the seeds never came up. So I started adding water and watering it saturated and really good. They're starting to come around, but I'm now I'm 3 weeks behind where I should be with my tomatoes. But I'm not stressing over it this year.
Yeah, it don't do no good to stress over it,
No,
you know.
no.
You know, when I start my seeds for my garden, I don't do it like everybody else because, well, I'll show you in a video later on and explain
Okay.
it. It works a lot. It works really good for me when I do it that way, but yeah.
Everybody got their own way, and then there's no way that's wrong if it works for you.
Right,
You know.
right. And not only that, you might be able to make some good out of something that y'all get at the grocery store anyhow,
Yeah.
you know, because everybody's got a bunch of them laying around their house and then they throw them away. But, you know, and if you stop and think about that white stuff that's in soil, that's pieces of insulation or the styrofoam, the real tiny styrofoam balls.
Okay.
And you could actually grind it up yourself, cut it up real small yourself.
Well, I know a lot. They're moving away from the styrofoam balls, and they're going to more to using pure light, like I use in the greenhouse. It's actually lava that they heat up, and it to 35. I don't know. They heat it up super hot. And it actually pops, and it turns into the flaky ball looking setup with it, and it works well in hydroponics. It doesn't absorb water. The water attaches itself on the outside of it. They're starting to go using a lot of that in the soil starter mixes and the different things. People are starting to use it in the raised beds also. They're
Wow.
moving away. They're moving away from the plastics and stuff, the
Right.
foam that they're putting in there.
No, because everybody's always been buying the volcano rocks for decorating their yards,
With it,
landscaping, and even for cooking
yeah, the
on the grill.
perlite's not the it's not the volcanic rock. It's actually little bitty small pieces of volcanic rock that they heat up. The lava comes out. They leave it. It cools down. They take it and then they heat it up again inside of a heater, and it actually pops. They heat it up so hot that it pops, and it gets super light. A 4 cubic foot bag of the perlite might weigh 7 pounds. Um, so it's it's really light, really light. There's a lot of powder in it. It's not good to breathe, but it's basically it's a renewable resource that they're able
Yeah,
to use because there's lava all over the place. That
it's a
they're able.
renewable resource. All right, breathe it in, it'll kill you.
Well, it's
Don't
not
get me wrong. I was
right.
just joking.
It only does it when it's overly dry. When you're taking it out of the bags where they're packed into, they really have a lot of it because the packing and the transportation of everything like that causes it to break down a little bit. Once you've put it and gone through the process of initially washing it, like I do for the greenhouse, um, you have just a little bit of dust after that. Once it's in the 5 gallon buckets, there's really no dust in it while you're going through the growing season. But yeah, the dust isn't good for you. It'll uh, it's sharp. The particles are sharp and
It's
stuff.
fiberglass.
It's not. It's. I guess it's similar to fiberglass, but it's
It
not
is because when people have gotten caught in the dust, the smoke from volcanoes,
right.
and they breathe it in. It's a fiberglass and it cuts their lungs all the hay, and it can kill them
Yeah,
within seconds. It's a form of a fiberglass.
fiberglass. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't on this stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
let's go to Grant's house and get some
yeah.
fertilizer. I mean, manure that he's got. It's safer. I don't even know where Grant lives, but we're gonna go to his house and get that stuff. At least it's safer.
Oh, I had a friend in Mississippi that hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you could drive your trailer over here and pick up all you want." I'm like, by the time I drive up there, they're gonna load it for me, but then I gotta drive back, pulling my trailer. That would probably cost me, $200 or $300. It's not worth going get a load of chicken litter up there and then coming around and coming back. There's no chicken houses around here. We are I got a friend that I talked to. He has some old big round bales of hay that's been sitting out for a couple of years. He told me I can go pick them up and we'll throw that in the chicken pen and let the chicken start breaking that down for us this year. Hopefully, we'll be able to use it in the raised beds next year.
Right.
Scrape it up and move it on.
I mean, yeah, the old ways are the best ways.
Yep.
You know,
They're proven.
this
They're proven.
newfangled stuff. Um, you can't reinvent the wheel. It's the only way I know how to put that one.
You can't. I'm on the border of both of them with hydroponics. You can't reinvent the wheel, but you are able to grow a lot of food in very small areas.
Right.
And,
You can
and
grow food in water.
you say again?
You can grow food using water.
Yeah, the water with a fertilizer base,
Yeah.
and you it's it's more
If you
you
get one of
know
the
you know what you're going to get out of it year after year. If you use the same plants, the same setup, you have an idea of what you're going to get. When you're planting outside, um, using older methods, you have an idea that you're going to get this much, hopefully. But the weather, the rain, there's a lot of issues that could turn that around and kind of wash you out for the season. That's why I like the greenhouses and I do my small greenhouses, but I also like growing in the raised beds. Um, well, I like growing in a garden, but we do raised beds here in town. But we know for sure what we're going to get out of the greenhouses every year. As long as we able to get the fertilizer, we know we're going to get between 500 and 700 pounds of tomatoes per greenhouse. Um,
Okay. I don't know if they call it aquatics, hydroponics.
Aquaponics,
Okay. Um, it's they've got that one where you can grow the fish
yeah,
in the water, while you grow
aquaponics.
your food.
Yeah, you take the fish and you circulate the fish water, and you grow vegetables and stuff with the fish water. Um,
Yeah. But you're also growing your food because you can eat the fish.
Correct. And I've looked into it. The heat we have around here in the summer times would really put a dampener on it. Also, there's a lot more. You see, with the hydroponics, I do it different than a lot of people do it because of my work schedule. Uh, and I've had a lot of people tell me it's wrong, and I'm like, it is. It's different than what you do. It is kind of wrong, but it works perfectly fine for me. Um, I don't measure out my ppm and add fresh water and this and that and everything. I take mine and I have large 250-gallon totes, and that's how we put it in there. With the aquaponics, you have to be a little bit more hands on every 2 to 3 days, checking your ppm, checking your pH, monitoring it, make sure you have enough plants, removing the nitrogens and stuff, the excretions of the fish. Once your setup is up and running, and kind of like, I don't know if you've watched Jendera's Homestead,
Hmm.
Geraldine, she has an amazing setup, and it's really self-containing because it's set up and working correctly. For me, initially starting up would be hard, because of my work schedule.
Right.
It's all about what works for you, and that's why I don't. If somebody,
That's why we
yep,
can't say, well, you have to this, that, or the other.
yep,
No, because what works for me don't work for Cajun. What
m-
works for Cajun don't work for Christy. You know.
yeah. And
So
I'm not saying it doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. And that's what I try to tell everyone. It's the good thing about YouTube is because you can see so many different ways of growing.
hi,
You
Grandma
might,
grows.
hey,
Sorry.
grandma grows. You might find something that helps you, and you might find something that doesn't make any sense. But if it works for someone else, it's not wrong. It's
Exactly. And not only that, we there might be. We'll use Jason. We'll put Jason into this picture now. Um, the way I do it, the way you do it, and the way Christy does it, Jason takes a little bit of each of that, puts it together, and he
Yep,
comes up with a way that works for him.
exactly,
You know,
exactly. I've learned not so much that I've put into use in the gardening and the raised beds, but I've learned so much from YouTube and being able to take bits and pieces and knowledge, from different areas of the country and the world, and being able to to get some really good results all of it.
uh-oh.
Gardener when he was young. His dad didn't garden much. He enjoyed growing tomatoes. That was it, because we eat a lot of tomatoes. Um, but it was like beating our head against the wall every year. We put the tomatoes. This is it. This is what you do. Same thing every year. Same results. You'd bust your butt, do the garden, and end up with you know maybe a pound and a half of tomatoes off of every plant we plant. That just it's not worth it. Uh,
No. Well,
but
that's
then
like last year I had a really good harvest, okay? The year before, my harvest wasn't too good, but I had somebody introducing a lawnmower to the food in my garden too. The year before that, it wasn't too bad of a turnout, and the year before that, it was a really good one, you know. So you never know,
yeah,
Jeremy.
and that's what's good about growing different ways also, or different areas you grow in things like that. That's my raised beds in my backyard. If we get a hurricane, I could easily have 2.5, 3 feet of water over the raised beds. um, but the raised beds are also the least amount of work and the least amount of issues. If if we do get a flood and everything in the raised beds dies, it's not going to really be a big deal to me because I still have my, my greenhouses is my pride and joy. That's what I like. I really like the taste of the tomatoes and everything out of them. So now if I lose my tomatoes in my greenhouses, but still have the stuff in the back, I won't be as upset. But that's what I like doing. That's my hobby. The greenhouses are the hobby. The raised beds are more for, making sure that I have extra.
Yeah. Yeah, and um when you grow food, you know, and you do have you do have extra, you never know. Somebody that is down their dump
Yep.
or down on their luck, not down on their dump, but down on their luck, might need a hand up. And that hand up might help them tremendously and might change their world, you know. And they might save some of them seeds and then the next year grow some. And then you go, "Hey, how you doing?" the next time you see them. "Oh, you know that food, yeah, we saved the seeds and man, we got our own garden going." You know?
People that don't even have at least one plant, two plants on a patio growing, I find they're living in a dream world because they're gonna need to learn, they're gonna need to know, and they're gonna need the little bit extra it gives before long.
Oh, a lot
They need
sooner
a
than
lot more.
before.
Yeah, they're gonna need a lot more than that also, but not having any idea of how to do it is gonna be rough.
Yep. And another thing is, go ahead and laugh. I wasn't born in this year, but I do know about it. Okay? Back in the 1950s, they didn't have garden tillers. Mom and Dad had to go out and turn over their garden one scoop of shovel at a time, the whole thing by hand.
I was, the
And
IL says he uses the straw bales in a deep mulch method.
yeah,
Kenner, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had
no,
just
that's okay. That's Kinnear.
Kinnear. Okay,
Kinnear.
Kinnear.
Yeah, it's Jason, and we have a love affair going with Effingham. It
As
is a town. It is a town. It's also a county,
that's fine.
so it's not swearing.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name a couple hundred times till I get it right because I am Cajun, and
Well,
that's completely different than anything we have over here.
all you have to remember is come near him.
Okay,
Come near
Kinnear.
him. It's
Okay,
Kinnear,
Kinnear.
you know. And his wife has a beauty salon, and she likes to take her frustrations out on him because he likes to have things waxed. Yeah, I didn't feel a thing about it, and I'm like, "Oh, you need to tell her she needs to do that again." I didn't quite catch it. But um he said, yeah, he uses straw bales and deep mulch method because he's too lazy to weed. And he also said, got 2 pineapples growing in my kitchen. Well, aren't you just a spoiled little
Oh,
fart there,
my,
Jason?
I
That I
forgot my
got from
pineapples.
Misfits Market delivery box.
I
Well,
forgot my pineapples on the porch. I think they're dead. I left them outside in the cold.
uh-oh.
2 years I've been growing them. Yep, so much fun. But if you like to not have to weed, you should really try hydroponics. The Dutch bucket hydroponics. There's no weeding in that.
Yeah, well, I we weed, okay, because it's down in the ground gardening for us. But that's because I can't put above ground flower plants
In the dirt,
or
right?
yeah, I can't have it up. I've got to have it down on the ground because I rent. I don't own.
Right.
But it's okay because of the simple fact I also have a gopher, and this gopher is a smart little fart. He you leave him enough grass in your garden and he'll leave your food alone.
Really?
But yeah, but
Cool.
I took a trap out there and I put a squash. I cut a chunk of squash, put it in the back of it. He put dirt on the trigger plate,
On the
ate
front
the
so it wouldn't trip.
On the backs, yeah, so it wouldn't trip. And then he sat there and he ate the seeds, and then he started eating the squash itself. And then he decided he was going to bury his new house in his home. Oh yeah, I mean this guy, he's pretty inventive and creative, and he doesn't lack imagination. But yeah, so anyhow, if you leave gophers eat grass, but if you leave food for them, they won't eat your food.
Nice.
So instead of fighting with him, I'm trying to get along with him. Only then he takes and he burrows these big trenches in it. So, it's like, okay, whatever, people. Um,
Got it.
did you?
Yeah.
Yep,
Get
you
your,
did.
okay.
You got it. Whoops. Then I messed up. But it's just one of those, where uh okay, so I have that. I have squirrels that like to plant their nuts in my garden. That's okay too. And then we have birds that like to go down because they see the worms and they want to eat. That's okay too. So it usually works out. Hi Lori, how you doing?
Well, Homestead Aquarius got him.
Ooh, Homestead. Where you hiding at? Come out, wherever we are.
He messed up.
We know you're there. We can hear you breathing, Homestead.
Can hear you breathing.
Oh, by the way, Miss Lori, while I'm thinking of it and it popped into my pea brain, check your email. Because I heard somebody say something about a certain picture, wanting a certain picture.
I didn't make it to Miss Laura. I didn't make it to any live stream past 7:30 last night. I
Well,
watched it. I think it was Cosmic Cultivators. I think it was 7:30. They did the banana bread or banana cake video, and I sat down and that was the end of it. I woke up. It was 5:30 this morning. I hadn't slept that long in a long time. But
oh,
after the
I,
karaoke Friday night, sleeping 2 hours, and then we stayed on live streams from 7:45 in the morning till almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah, I know you guys was doing live streams after going from one place to another because I went back and I listened to the karaoke. I went to bed. Okay, I go to bed early. I'm an old person. I go to bed early. But I get up and then I like when you guys do karaoke, I'll listen to it the next day and start my morning off that way. And this morning I wasn't at Miss Lori's last night, but I watched it and I heard a certain lady, we won't say no names, said that she would like a picture. She had to find a picture of a certain person standing a certain way with a certain thing. And I went, huh. I went back to the karaoke one, and I just had a wild hair to email Miss Lori an email. So her wish, I think, might have been granted. Just saying.
I'm gonna have to let you go. I need to go play with Colt. We need to go figure out some roadblock stuff. I really enjoyed
Ooh,
it. Thank you so much for letting me be up here to with
thank
you.
you for coming on with me.
You're welcome. You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. It's been so much fun, and
Yeah,
I'll have you come on again sometime.
I'd love to do it. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank
We'll see
you.
you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So now you lovely people are stuck with just me. Unless Miss Lori would like to come up, you know, or Robert would like to come up since we know he's in the background, you know. Um, Otherwise, yeah, we're encouraging people to try to grow your own food. It's gonna mean a world of difference, and um, it can help you. It can help cut your food bill down and keep you alive, keep your family alive, you know, um, because it's to that point where we have to, you know, um, that's fine, Miss Lori. I understand, but anyhow, it can't hurt to encourage. It can't hurt to try. You know, there's no such thing as failing because even when things don't go right, it's a learning experience. So, not to do that the next time, and we gotta do what we can for ourselves, okay? And you never know who else you'll be able to help. You know, if you have extra seeds and your neighbor don't, and they'd like to grow a garden, they don't know that much about it. Well, you can talk to them. You can explain how to do it. Okay, Tiny Tim, thank you for coming by. And you can help them by growing because if you teach them how to grow food, you're teaching them how to eat forever. If you give them some food, then you're only letting them eat for a day or two, you know. And that's how I look at it. So, anyhow, it's been a real fun time, and oh, I'm running out of things to talk about, but that's because I'm up here by myself twiddling my thumbs. But I'm hoping that you guys learned something. I'm always learning. I don't know all the answers. None of us do, And if we have questions, ask. All right? There is no such thing as a stupid question. All right? But it doesn't make much sense if you have a question not to ask. I usually take It usually takes me about 3 times before I learn my lesson. All right, Jason. And it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Um, we're never too old to learn. It's like this guy I was talking about. With this crossbreeding of the peppers. I've never heard of anybody doing it, but you know what? I'm learning. I'm learning things from him. You know, and I still have sweet peppers to get from my gardens, but I'm learning. You know, I got some that I want to get, and I'm going to get them. Just take the time. So anyhow, we've been doing this for about 2 hours, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for all coming. Thank you to my mods. You're wonderful. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Christy Sue. Thank you, Miss Lori. Thank you, Mr. Robert Homestead Aquarius, my knee pocket keeper. What can I say? Um, thank you, Cajun Hydroponics, for coming on with me and making things lively. And yes, I can't wait to see what Lori does with a certain picture she just happened to stumble across. Um, anyhow, I will talk with you guys later. Y'all have a great week and a blessed week, and make every day count, okay? Enjoy all your blessings, big and small. So, um, I will see you all uh next week, same time, same channel, same place. So, till then, take care and God bless y'all. Talk to you soon.